Hey now.
And welcome to another episode of Straight No Chaser Cowboys podcast. Now, you may be wondering why I'm not on cam today because I got to go to work a little early today. So I'm going to have my, in the word Tupac, I'm going to have my homies ride on y'all B-made ass bad boy buses.
Yeah.
We got still got a good show lined up for you. We're going to talk about San Francisco. We know that was a beatdown. And so, yeah, man, I just want us to kind of acknowledge the L. Let's move forward. Let's get some insight about what's going to take place tonight. So, without further ado, gentlemen, how you doing?
What up, man? Oh, by the way, Cliff, I know you're not on camera, but I know you can see this. You know what it is. This game.
We shall see.
You know what it is. Oh, yeah, no doubt. This, like I said, man, it's my upstart Rangers versus the mighty Astros. I would give the Astros their due. They have owned the AL for a damn near a decade, which is phenomenal. So this is damn sure some David and Goliath, but David did have them two stones in his pocket, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what's up. Yeah. JC, how you feeling, man?
Man, another day. Not to get off on a tangent. I know we're short on time, but there are some foods that just do not need to be microwaved. Okay, so I was Wendy's. I hadn't had breakfast there ever, so I'll give it a try, right? And got an English muffin scenario thing working, and they might the English muffin. I mean, come on, man! Like seriously, you guys can't afford a toaster. Like your Wendy's, you don't have a toaster. I mean, damn, man! But hey, you know what? It's a blessing to be able to eat at all, and it's a blessing to be here with you guys.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. That's how. Well, you know the rule, man. Fast food is not to be reheated. I don't care where you get it from.
Fact. Absolute fact.
Stick to the rule. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hop in, hurry formation, and let's hop into it. Insights, thoughts. Again, I'll let y'all do the heavy lifting. And just tell me what y'all saw from that beat down. Just be brutal. Let's do it.
I can't wait. So I'll go in both feet. So, an absolute debacle. And it wasn't, it was somewhat disappointing, man, but it pissed me off more than anything. And here's why. Because this team has shown enough, talking about Dallas, has shown enough to be better than that. We acknowledged freely, the three of us did, and actually even before the game, that San Francisco is the measuring stick this year in NFC. Due respect to the Eagles, they're undefeated, man, but the Eagles don't feel, nor do they look like San Francisco. Yes, they're undefeated, but they look flawed as hell. And, they are getting it done. But what's funny is, while I know we'll talk about this a little bit in the show, but, Dak is getting a lot of heat, as he should. I don't think he should get more heat than what I'm going to talk about a little bit later than our coach. But, man, you look at guys like the narratives that are floating out there, and Jalen Hurts has almost identical numbers to Dak. But the Eagles are 5-0. Same number of interceptions, damn near the same number of yards, damn near the same rating. But but we know what it is when you wear the star. You know what it is when you're affiliated, because we know what drives interest, we know what drives clicks. Back to the game, man. One of the things I ended the show with last week, man, is the most concerning. If y'all remember, ended the show with, if the game comes down to where it's a Brock Purdy versus Dak Prescott thing, and Brock Purdy outplays Dak Prescott like significantly, there's a deeper problem than we know. Those are my exact words. Well, Frisco, we have a problem because Brock Purdy, I think he has done enough now, even through the first 5 games of the season, to shed the label of Mr. Irrelevant. He's relevant as shit now because, man, they ate everything Dallas was ready for, man. And the thing the part that pissed me off, I throw it to Joey, the part that pissed me off the most, man, is we all know as fans, I know that organization because we saw the quotes. We saw the quotes from Dak. We saw the quotes from the coach. We saw the quotes from CD. We saw the quotes from Michael. So we know that it was top of mind with them. It's like, man, how do you go into that game and literally, not necessarily, well, yeah, I mean, get your ass kicked, but you got punked. Like, man, like they had no fight. We talked about the bullet. Remember, Cliff? What you gonna do? Fight or run? They ran. They ran. San Francisco didn't do anything special other than the flea flicker, which is a sweet ass play. But they were ready for everything Dallas did, offensively and defensively. And then when it just came to executing the play, they were just a more physical, more want to, bigger badass. They literally walked out there and was like, man, y'all know y'all punk asses can't beat us. So y'all gonna take this ass for. But that's exactly how I play, man. And that's the part that pissed me off. It's like, bro, all of that talk from you guys, not us, little small, straight no chasing. Y'all talked that shit and went out there and gave that effort on the sideline and on the field. Pissed me off, man. There's a lot of concern going forward. Joey, what you got?
Man, speaking of they ran, that was it in a nutshell, man. I mean, yeah, it was total dominance, but, Frisco's getting 5-6 a clip running the ball. And that is their MO in its entirety. When it's like that, Kittle comes off, Ayuk comes off, and you get what you get from Samuel. And the defense that they play, they're daring you to throw the ball. They go cover one a lot high, and they're just daring you to throw it. They're not going to allow you to run for all intents and purposes, right? And so that's where, okay, you can see that it's a complete team effort, okay, in terms of if, we've talked about it before. If you can't score, it's a problem. If the other team can, well, obviously, it's a big problem. So if your run game wasn't going to be, and the run game wasn't awful, but if it's not a heavy run day, then that reverts back to the playmakers. It reverts back to the quote unquote dynamic guys on that side of the ball. And it's just kind of a recurring theme, in that, man, we got cats that just disappear, cats that are ballers for the most part, all right, and they just don't show up sometimes. And it's very, very disconcerting. Something like, a game like that, yeah, it's easy to point the finger at Dak, but you needed him to do, something that is not really his stilo, and that's carries. He needed to make some miraculous plays. They could have taken 14-7, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Frisco gets the ball, walks it down again, and so they weren't going to be able to, pull off a shootout win. And again, that's where it starts, is stopping the run. And again, it wasn't any, major gashing or anything like that, but it was consistently 5-6 a run. Again, man, that's game, set, and match. And some of the plays that some of the stuff that they were able to do and get away with, like all goes and then outside, inside, outside guy, inside release with goals everywhere else. And Purdy's way back there just chilling, waiting for the whole thing to come across the other side of the field. And he does, and he drops it in there. I'm like, how are they able to get away with something like that? Because pass rush was non-existent. So
yeah, we call that, though.
It was a team effort in terms of blowing this deal.
Yeah, we call it, though, man, because I went back and watched. Yeah, go ahead, Cliff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like Scott's comment. Scott be on our head every week. Said they already thought we were. I mean, listen, that's why one of the rare times I picked the loss. I knew it. From what we've seen, how inept our offense is, and how now it wasn't so much we couldn't score in the red zone. We couldn't do shit. Against this team, and it kind of goes back to what guys like Shady McCoy been saying, with guys like who was that, Keyshawn Johnson, other guys saying we ain't really played nobody, and goddamn, they look prophetic right now. It looks like we ain't played nobody. Well, I mean, of course, I lost this, but we played against a real team. Because remember, let's rewind back a few weeks ago. We were like, this team probably got some, postseason implications, some best team in the football implications. And as we got more data, goodness gracious, we flunking with flying colors. So watching that game last week, they just dominated us at every level. We couldn't get nothing going. It was freaking embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing. So I was at a mostly 49er bar, catching that heat last week, and I got my car broken in too. That sucked.
Yeah, that sucked, man. I'm sorry to see that shit.
Yeah, man, that's $200 unnecessary dollars gone to the ether. But they stole a backpack with nothing in it. But I mean, whatever. But it is what it is. It's Inglewood. But anyway, yeah. So it just was very disappointing from a fan standpoint. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I wasn't even mad. I was like, yep, that looks about right. That looks about right based on all the meat on the bone they left from the run game not being stout, from that being pedestrian at best. I was like, that looks about right. So that's how I look from my perspective. I'll let y'all keep cooking.
Yeah, man. Let me jump into a couple of specifics that you know, and I like Scott's comment too. They all we thought they were. Well, here's the thing though, man. We on this show, again, we gave San Francisco, clearly gave them their due that they were the measuring stick, and we've basically started from day one. Is there's some things that we like, there's some things we're concerned about. Been pretty consistent with that, with the ability to stop the run consistently, and we've always said that if that pass rush doesn't get home, it's going to be a problem. Said it like chapter and verse last show. Something that Joey said just a minute ago. Very specific last week. If they don't win on first and second down, and I'm quoting, it's going to be a long day. As a matter of fact, went on to say at the end of the show they're going to get their ass kicked. If they don't do that, that's exactly what happened. Now, go to that 14-7 thing, man. And this goes to my bigger point of what I had the biggest problem with, and it's not on field. It's 14-7. Defense started to settle in a little bit. They're winning a little bit more on the early downs, and then they get them behind the chain. Now, when you're playing a team, and I'm being very clear here, when you're playing a team on the road and they're better than you, again, we acknowledge that. When you're playing games like that, you need a break or two to fall your way that you didn't count on, all right? And if you don't, because when you're playing teams that are as complete as San Francisco is, on both sides of the ball and from that sideline, in Shanahan and even the defensive coordinator, the margin for error is slim to none. That's why you need those breaks. So, and if you don't, then you have to execute in order to give yourself a chance to steal a win. Because let's be honest, if Dallas had won that game, they would have to have done that to steal it. Even in my incorrect prediction, that's what I did. It was like, I think they would play well enough to stay in it, get one late. Of course, that didn't happen. Will, what's up, man? But go to that 14-7 piece real quick. It's 14-7. They settle in a little bit. They got a couple of stops. They got to play obviously to Turpin, so they're in the game. They get to that third and long. All right, ideal situation. Hadn't seen many of those because for whatever reason, Dan Quinn stayed in that cover three, and Shanahan had every answer in the world for it. I saw a stat this week that Purdy went 7 of 8 against that coverage, 2 tubs and like 143 yards. I mean, he was just killing it. It's like they absolutely knew what was going on. But to that 14-7 thing, that 3rd and 3, and then they get the unsportsmanlike call on the 3rd down. Ball game. That was ball game right there. And no, I'm not blaming it on the refs. It was just like, that's a break for a team that was already up against it anyway. They couldn't afford, to go against them. San Francisco takes that opportunity, punches it in, and now it's 21-7 because, again, if they get off the field there, even if Dallas goes down and scores, I'm not saying that San Francisco would have eventually, done what they done, but that game has a different feel at 14-10, certainly if you tie the game. But when that break doesn't happen for them, and then they don't stiffen up, and then they get back in the end zone, that was church. That was a wrap. And then now you're playing hurried. Now you completely abandon whatever game plan that you had, which was god awful to begin with. And now Dak's playing P for K, and he's chucking it to the wind, and then it just gets uglier and uglier. But man, before we move into the extravaganza on Monday night, and talking about the Beeve and the Chargers, man, I am the most pissed at 2 guys in particular, and they didn't play a down. That would be Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. San Francisco was clearly more prepared on both sides of the ball than Dallas was from a scheme standpoint, from a game plan standpoint, and then to the cats on the field's credit, they went out and executed their asses off, and we got what we got, which was a thorough ass kicking. But the coaching, the planning, the game planning, the play calling, the defensive schemes were whack as shit. The offensive play calls were absolutely ridiculous. Shanahan, I mean, and we talked about this too. McCarthy has no game feel whatsoever. There were third and short situations, and he's calling, or actually second and short, and you call in a pass when, guys, I mean, we all of us have watched football for a decidedly, long period of time. When you're playing that type of team, man, what's the best thing to do, man, is use as much of the clock, run ball, even if you're if it's 2nd and 4 and you get 2 yards and it's 3rd and 2, or if it's 3rd and 3, you move the clock, and you even set the mentality that you're going to hit them. No game feel, no presence. And then when what pissy-ass game plan that you did have is not working, then it just completely goes to shit. And again, you get what you get, man. So I think there's a lot of soul searching, not only from the guys that are wearing the helmets and the shoulder pads, but the cats that's doing this game plan is like, Quinn, if they're eating cover 3, come out of it. Generate some pressure, blitz a little bit, maybe, perhaps. You can't stand there and doggedly say, we'll just eventually stop them and figure it out. Well, no, Kittle is – I still don't think Kittle was touched the whole damn game in the 3 tubs that he had. I mean, they've got to go in with a better plan if they're going to do anything against these better teams, because guess what? They got more heat coming up. They got Philly twice. They got, Buffalo and Miami. Yeah, yikes. So you better figure it out. And guess what? Today will be no picnic, because you can best believe Beav is throwing everything in the world at them with a cat who can sling it around the yard and Justin Herbert. So this is going to be a real interesting watch today, coming off the heels of that ass kicking last week.
That's right. You're playing an NFL team, and the Chargers are the epitome of a middling, could go either way football team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got some guys, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My man Joey Bosa, all right, no relation. My man Khalil Mack, they got Samuel Jr. They drafted the kid out of Northwestern. That seems like an excellent left tackle. They got Herbert. We all know he's wildly talented, But once again, it's like you talked about on that, the piss poor play call on 3rd and 2, to give the Rico out of the gun. I mean, again, man, in the NFL, man, 3rd and 2 is a passing down. That's the difference between the NFL and college, bro. It's a passing down. I'm sorry, it just is, especially with that defense that they play, right? San Francisco, you just got to come with something better than that. Now, my thought process when I saw them, run the ball, I said, okay, I see you working, brother. You got 2 to make it is how you're looking at it, right?
Correct.
We're going for it.
I agree.
What happens? All right, what happens? They don't go for it. All right, so that's that to me is the only situation in which you do that is when the run's almost a throwaway. If it works, you got lucky, but you're going for it on 4th down, which they clearly were not going to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's like the ultimate turtling. You take the ball out of your quarterback's hands on an important 3rd down situation when you're getting down there trying to score, and then it doesn't work, and so you just completely turtle. You just completely turtle. Man, look, you got to die with this is Texas. You got to die with your boots on, as we say. All right, why not? It wasn't going well. Okay, right. So now, you take some chances. I swear, man. The thing with McCaffrey, right? It blows my mind. It's like I think that a lot of people, were like, when he came onto the scene, and he's coming off and having these big numbers, right? People thought, well, damn, man, I think what's happening is the cats on defense are doing a double take because they're like, white running back? No, he doesn't have the ball, right? And so they were fooled, right? There's no way, right?
Yeah,
but then
that's a bad boy, man.
Now, right? And that's a goof. But now you know who he is, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, and he's the engine of that thing. And so back to the Chargers. I mean, look, man, we talk about it. You F around, and they will beat your ass. That it's a guarantee. All right. Yeah. And this is, as they say, and as y'all alluded to, an interesting watch because this is the proverbial pivotal game. Pivotal.
Yep.
Gotta have this one.
Yeah. I had questions for both you cats, and shout out to Third World Columbia, man. Appreciate you popping on. I'm gonna check this question out. Are y'all worried about that record that states that whenever the 49ers beat a team one week, that team usually loses the next game? Wasn't aware of that. Appreciate you bringing that up. I will answer your question with this stat. Great question. In the Dak Prescott era, yeah, he's not lost back-to-back road games. So one of those has to fall. And Dallas has been really good bouncing back that following week from the game. So there's kind of a dynamic there from that statistic. One of those is going to fall today. I didn't appreciate. Didn't know about that stat. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And then he follows with, is the Trent Williams and 49ers? Oh, Michael Parsons kryptonite.
He's everybody's kryptonite. He's Trent Williams. He's everyone's kryptonite.
Take a look out that window. See that line that forms to the left? Those are all people that have tried Trent Williams and failed. He is that guy.
He is that guy.
He is that guy. And now
best lineman in the game by far.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And kudos to the 49ers organization for doing what they had to do to go and get him. Because like the McCaffrey move, it literally solidified. And that's the other piece. I think we touched on this too. The 49ers have a lot of best at their position guys across their lineup. And it damn sure showed against Dallas last weekend. And to Will's point, man, the Cowboys got dissected. Didn't like how Parsons was not moved around the field. Agreed. Goes back to the coaching and the flexibility, the in-game adjustment. You got to find ways to get him advantages when the normal isn't working. 1,000% agree with that. 1,000% agree with that. That's part of what pissed me off is like they were so committed to it was like, I'm going to eventually break this wall down by beating my head against it. Eventually, I'll put a hole in it. Nah, bro. You got lumps. Both your goddamn eyes is closed and your nose is broken. Try something else. But here's the question I got for you guys and those in the chat. So to Will's point about being dissected and being exposed, actually, Dak Prescott, something specific with him. Is his escapability now completely gone, or is that reluctance, or is he physically not able to escape like he once was? Is that a mental thing? Is that a physical thing? And the other question is, we've always had a concern about the linebacking crew. I've said it since week one. I'm going to say it again. They really missed what that kid Overshone was going to give them in this lineup. But the linebacking weakness or the linebacking differences between, which is why San Francisco is so consistently good against the run and playmaking in the short passing game versus Dallas. Look at the gap in talent at linebacker versus Dallas. So they really show that if Dallas's pass rush doesn't get home and you have a really good offensive line and you have a Trent Williams that's neutralizing your best pass rusher because, to Will's point, is not moving around to create an advantage. If that pass rush doesn't get home, Dallas is vulnerable as shit. Because if they had anything remotely close to the two cats that play linebacker for San Francisco, that's a completely different ball team. But I think that's the biggest difference, especially defensively, for that team is they are light years better than Dallas at linebacker. Those guys they were unbelievable how they literally controlled Dallas's offense in the course of that game this past week. So I don't think they're going to quite see, well, I know they're not going to see that level of talent. So perhaps Dallas can exploit some things. They can probably get a little bit of their offensive swag back if they've got anything at all, because San Diego, I keep saying San Diego, the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, that's so weird to me. They're the worst team. They're last in the league on first down. Teams eat on the Chargers on first down. So maybe, that serves up and plays to Dallas's advantage this week. But it's going to be really interesting to see, man, what Dallas's mentality is on the field and from the sideline in terms of in-game adjustment, in terms of how they come out, in terms of firing the gut from getting, completely embarrassed. And here's the other piece. They were the only game on TV last Sunday night. They're going to be the only game on TV Monday night. So everybody's going to watch it again too. So whatever pressure or, that is going to add, we'll see. It's going to be really interesting to see what type of resilience, if any, that Dallas has in being able to go forward to get to 4-2, or here we are muddling around again at 500 and not played the Eagles yet. It's like, and suddenly here we go.
Must see TV.
Yep.
The S show at the F factory. All right.
I like that.
It's Dallas Cowboys football sometimes, right? It's like
nice.
It's glorious either way. If you're a fan and they do well and they clown, it's great. But also, for the haters, okay? And yes, man, look, hate is part of sports fandom. I don't care for Notre Dame. Okay, so you want to, if your team's not going well, or even if they are, right? But particularly if they're not, whoever it is that you despise, or you can't wait to see them show up and pull an El Foldo. And the Cowboys epitomize that. It's to the point to whereas, okay, we're all old enough to remember the championships. Okay, and I can remember in the face of everything as a young man and getting out into the world, into the workplace, and working with people from that from different areas or whatever that have different fandom. Right? It's 1989. All right, the Cowboys was 3-13. 3-13 the previous year, and they go 1-15 in '89. But I always, and I had a lot of friends from New York, always took pride in the fact that, hey man, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm a Cowboy fan. And it's like, 1-15. Yeah, man. I can remember sneaking away from my job where I was supposed to be doing security, right, to go watch the Cowboys play the Chiefs in '89. And they got rolled, they'll sit over there on TV, watching while I'm on the clock. That's how much it meant to me. And it's almost like when you talk about Red Sox fan or Cubs fan, right, or Cleveland fan, right, the romanticized aspect of it, it's almost like it goes away, once you win, once you break through, when you win that championship.
Right.
For me, that's kind of where we're coming back to. It's like, yeah, man, it's tough sometimes to be a Cowboy fan, but it's almost like you've kind of resigned yourself to that. That's your lot in life. I'm not switching. I won't switch. Every other NFL team in the world sucks as far as I'm concerned. But like, that's where we're with that. And I'll say this in closing. When you're inconsistent, okay,
which Dallas is,
or not a lot of times, when you're inconsistent, like say at the collegiate level, okay, somebody comes along, right, your Citadels or whoever it may be, and you're able to get shit together.
Rutgers.
Right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're able to get shit together. I will figure it out. We'll do some things because that's going to be a W. We're going to bank it. It's not like that in the NFL. And trust me, the number one reason why, okay, or a huge reason why people say, well, the speed of the game in the NFL. It's the speed of the game in the NFL versus college. And most people outwardly think, well, that's because the guys run faster. That's part of it. But bullshit. They know what they're doing. Yeah. They don't take false steps. They study. Right. Everything is exposed and magnified. There's only 32 teams in this thing, right? And there's plenty of time to watch film. What I'm afraid of is that the inconsistencies in the NFL, man, that deal usually trends one way. I'm telling you, people look at it and they say, that's how they Peter rolled your ass. We're going to start doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that's concerning. It's still early. It's still early. They could still figure it out. I mean, y'all had to talk me off the ledge during the game. I told y'all. I'm like, it's done. I'm out. It's over. Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it was when it was 14-0, I was like that too. But then Turpin catches that touchdown, and I'm like, it's back on. It's back on. We're coming back on their ass. Right. And that's the emotions of football. The thing is, man, figure it out and figure it out quickly because there ain't no downtime, man. A 24-hour rule in effect. All right.
Yeah.
They got to do something. And I think what you talked about earlier, a lot of it is really in McCarthy, the offense, the play calling, which is exacerbated by the play design.
Yep.
The one time they do the smash concept or they, get out on the corner from the slot, Turbin catches a touchdown. All right. Everything else is all inside. And by virtue of that cover one, man, think about it. It's cover one. The one guy up high, the box is crowded. Right?
Right.
So the crossing stuff, they're taking that away. They're taking that stuff away. So you got to threaten. You got to do some double moves. You got to do some stuff from the slot. And play calling is one thing because you can change that. But, man, I hate to say it, boys. We're in the middle of a season. Play design.
Yep.
They kind of stuck with that.
Yep. And
and
that was one of the painfully, and I emphasize the word painfully evident differences in the game Sunday night from Shanahan to McCarthy is that what you just said, Joe, is play design. It's like, man, when they would replay like those scoring plays like that, the plays to Kittle were just unbelievable in the design and how he was that wide open. And Dante, you're right.
He was out there partying, man. Shanahan was partying on them boys, just having fun.
And wearing the after Cowboys t-shirt, whatever else, which he laughed at the fine, which is like $15,000. He's like, man, whatever, I meant that, and he should have. Dante with a great point. Cowboys got to find an offensive identity if they can. That's the if they can part. Dante that's the next 12 weeks. That's the harrowing thing for Dallas going forward, because one of the problems that I think is going to be problematic for Dak Prescott is not so much that he is an incapable talent. I don't believe that, but I do think this. I don't think Dak is, and this is kind of a combination of things. I think he's lost some of his willingness to improv post-injury. I followed Dak when he was in college at Mississippi State, being an SEC guy. People tend to forget because all of a sudden that's many moons ago. But Dak was legitimately a Heisman candidate.
He was a one-man game at Mississippi State.
Yeah,
one-man freaking game. It took them to number one. Yeah. Pretty damn good.
And I think, and I've talked to some people during the week about this. One of the things that I caught from that game Sunday, before we dive into what they're going to face in the Beeve, is it looks as though the Dak is so focused on this new. And man, if I hear Texas coach more than 3 times this week during the broadcast, I think I'm going to throw up. That Texas coach shit is just so whack. But anyway, I think he's so focused on because they ran the stat of getting the ball out of his hand quick, because that's the focus. And they keep going back to interceptions, whatever else, which again, aberrant and not really accurate, but we won't delve into that. But he's so focused on getting it out that I think he's focused on that primary read even more. And I mean, it's like, okay, get out of my hand. And it's 3 out of the field. They've taken by design, I'm not saying they being McCarthy, I think by design of what the emphasis is in getting the ball out of Dak's hands, they've dumbed down and taken away part of what made Dak good was his ability or his willingness to take shots. If they've taken away some of his aggression, and you can't do that as a quarterback. That's what made Dak. I mean, so that's to Dante's point, that if they can is going to be a lot on the play caller, because like, man, you probably are going to have to pull back from that and let Dak over the course of the next few weeks do what he does. If he takes a few chances and he turns it over, okay. But Dak's history is that when he kind of goes and improvs, he makes more plays than he does not. And you're kind of boxing him in by making sure that the ball gets out just for the sake of ball getting out. and there are plays being left out there. That's why you have CeeDee Lamb pissed off because they're not even throwing him the football. And I'll land that playing with this one. When you've seen the really dynamic quarterback receiver combos, and you know going in who their number one guy is. Even when Amari Cooper was here, everybody knew Amari Cooper was the guy. Did that keep Dak from throwing in the ball? Hell no, it didn't. Over history, name the dynamic quarterback receiver combo. One of my favorites is Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. Who do they have besides Megatron? But you knew for a fact, matter of fact, he threw for 300 against Dallas. Because you knew when he needed a play, guess what he was going with the ball? He was throwing it, come hell or high water, he was throwing that pill to his guy, to the one guy that he knew could make a play. And Dak's not even doing that. And I think that's why you see some of that spillage or that frustration from CD. He's like, hey, man, trust me. Same thing that we saw a couple weeks ago with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. He told him, I'm always open. He had been getting targeted. The next game, 15 receptions for damn near 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. So not necessarily enforce it to your guy, but if he's the guy you got to point at and, Dak to CD, he's not getting targeted, and he needs the guy to pull you out of this rut, this doldrum of making plays and getting things open up for his offense, then do that, man. But don't leave that bullet in the gun. And you can start that, to your point, Joey. You can start doing that shit today, like this week.
And let me chime in. Let me chime in real quick before JC hop in.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to SB Sports Talk, man. He says Chargers by 14 points. We shall see. He says easy dub for my Chargers this week, and he says Dak is trash. I mean, that's a little much. That's a little much.
That's a lot much. That's
after
cap.
a bad loss.
That's not a little much. That's absolute cap. Bad game, horrible game, absolutely trash. Come on, bro. Let's have
it's a whole bunch of trash in the NFL. Dak Prescott ain't one of them, but shout out to SB nonetheless. So guys, I'm gonna have to end the show in about 7 minutes because they're not letting me go remote. Because usually I can go remote and we can keep this thing going.
All right.
So I just want to give you an update on that. So as we go forward, let's talk a little bit about score predictions and insights. I mean, you've been kind of touching a little bit on it. JC, I'll let you take the wheel, and then so we can round the show out. So sorry, gentlemen. Sorry, listening audience. I see this one of our bigger audiences. We had technical difficulties, and we still having them. And so I got to
appreciate y'all coming on, though. That's for damn sure.
So appreciate y'all pulling up. But I got so many things against me this week, so I almost didn't do the show. But listen, man, we're gonna do this every week, man. We're gonna fight through it, damn it. All right, so go ahead, JC. What you got, bro?
All right, man. So we are in analysis of this week's game, and again, they've got some guys, but I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think Austin Eckler is injured and not playing. So it's definitely going to be about stopping Herbert in the passing game. And that's going to be the thing. I think Dante S., one of our viewers, had a great point in terms of the Cowboys needing to find an identity. That's something that's germane to any team that has success. Got to find an identity.
Correct.
Okay. If you see these teams that are struggling, they have no identity. Who are they? What do they do? I'm going to go back to what my man DB said a couple weeks ago. Are you going to go Billy Jack on him and take this foot right here and put it right across your face and nothing you can do about it? Or, are you going to go full on willy-nilly crazy? All right. You know what I mean? And again, what we're talking about again, it's like you were also talking about the fact that pass rush for the Cowboys. All right. Well, I'm gonna make it another fairly obscure quote, fairly obscure reference. The pass rush is the pudding. The meat is stopping the run.
Yep.
And how can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? All right. Bottom line, okay, it's this is the stuff that you have to do. Okay, things look easy when you see the highlights. We talked about a pre-show about the anomaly standing out. The exciting shit always stands out. Okay, but you arrive there by doing the nuts and bolts stuff, i.e., stopping the run. It's very, very simple. Old Diggy and the boys, can't be doing swim, rip, get around, and get to the passer. if the running back is gashing them. All right. Got to stop that run. And even though they don't have Eckler, they're going to run it. Okay. They're going to try to run it.
Real quick, Joey. Eckler is actually going to play. I thought I saw that, but I got Richard Walker. What up, Rich?
Is he going?
Yeah, he's going. Yeah, he's actually going.
Oh, okay. Well, again, scratch everything I said except for the really cool Pink Floyd reference that I made for all the viewers. Again, which I was kind of getting back to it. Stop the run. If they run all over you, that is your ass. You are done. TOP, drives, points, offense sitting over there trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, they're going to need people to step up and make big plays. A couple years ago, man, Micah Parsons stepped up in a game against these same Chargers. He went from linebacker to end and was completely disruptive. The reason that they won that game after coming off the opening night debacle, I believe it was. No, I'm sorry. They lost to Tampa that night, but it was close. And then they came back in next week and they played the Chargers. And your man Parsons, hand on the ground, and was in the mix and changed their fortunes. Somebody's going to have to do that. You know, if they need to get CD off in the slot, then do it. I don't see, like, the success that they had against San Francisco in the past was threatens on the outside, double moves on the outside, hookups on the outside. They kept going into the middle of the field, and they better adjust, they better adapt. So, prediction. This one is a real hard one to call for me because you want to talk about either way. And part of that is us watching this football team. Okay. Part of that is, I thank you, Rich, for chiming in that Eckler will be playing, and you, DB, also reminding me of my lack of preparation for the show.
Good, man.
This one's tough to call.
Gotcha.
This one is tough to call. I'm going to go heart instead of mind. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to say, and I keep coming back to this. I'm going to say Cowboys 19-16. The offense is still not fixed, but the defense sucks it up, has some pride, eats their meat, and thereby gets the benefit of the pudding. Cowboys in a close.
Okay. All right. I'll make this very brief. I think they're going to see some really exotic looks. They may get gashed and give up some plays early. The thing I don't want to see is Herbert get in a particular rhythm because Herbert's a big talent with a big arm, underrated mobility. I won't do him the disservice of calling him a poor man's Josh Allen. I think he's a really good Justin Herbert, to be honest with you.
He can ball, man.
Yeah, he can ball. He can spin it. He can run. He's got great size, big arm. He can make the busted play, if you will, and make something really huge happen because he's got that God blessed arm, and he looks to make plays with it. And he's got a coordinator in the Beeve that is going to design some plays for him to take shots. When you got a Diggs out, when you've had the mediocre safety play that we've had to this point with Hooker and Wilson, disappointingly so, they're damn sure going to take shots. So the onus is on that pass rush to offset that to get home. So that's going to be the big dynamic there. Like you, I feel this is a really tough one to call because of that. And a couple things are going to have to step. We're going to have to figure out something with what they want to be with Tony Pollard. Are they going to give him the ball? Are they give him spot duty? Part of that identity, to Dante's point, they've not identified their bell cow and that consistency or that need, if you will, to JC's point about who they are in the run game. So with that,
still trying to find out. Damn shame.
Yeah, just got time to find out. Oh, Vander Elsewhere, our guy Richard Walker, well, so famously coined, is out with another neck injury. That's going to be a daunting task. So they've got some things to figure out, but nobody cares about your problems. Everybody's got injuries across the board. They've got to figure it out. I'm going to go with you, Joey, heart over mind in that Dallas statistically has bounced back after losses in the Dak Prescott era. They had to have been embarrassed enough to show some heart and get after it. It's going to be a tall task, but I too will predict a very, very hard-fought tough win, 2017. Again, Aubrey at the end, they get out of LA squeaking, but I'll even go so far as to say they survive to win this one, 2017.
All right, I'll hop in to round things out. I think this is a winnable game. I think we got our ass spanked good enough in Cali once, so we shouldn't do it again. I don't know. I mean, I know Dak hears all the noise, so hopefully him and McCarthy are getting a better game plan to get, like you talk about, not so much focusing about the early release, but playing within himself, doing what, I mean, because who knows? Maybe he's like Russell Wilson now, where he just ain't got it no more. It's hard to say come off an injury. And by it I mean just having the ability to extend plays, to create plays where there's nothing there. So Rich says 31-17 Chargers. Okay. I'm gonna be a little optimistic, because last week there was zero bit of optimism in me last weekend, and I was right. This week I'm going optimistic. I don't think we're gonna put up 31. Well, nobody puts up 31, I don't think. Going Cowboys 23, Chargers 19. I think we eke one out.
My man Rich coming with that
sir.
heat. Rich bars none. And right here on these public airways, congratulations, Rich, and on the nuptials with the Mr. and Mrs. Yeah, big time congratulations to you and Mrs. Walker, the lovely Mrs. Walker. Big shout out to y'all, man.
Shout out to Minnie.
If they don't make the playoffs, I'm laying this at Richard's feet. He's the one that called it. He's gonna have to have some answers. All right. Rich said this was a crash and burn season. I'm laying this at your feet, Richard Walker, because I have no one else to blame.
Bad juju.
You're gonna have to answer some questions, brother, if this happens.
Well, hey man, so I hate
lucky this week.
Yeah, no lucky. I gotta go out the door and drive to Irvine. Man, I'm sorry that the schedule monster got me, but I gotta go to work a little earlier. So thank y'all, fellas, for holding it down while I had to make some preparations before leaving.
Legit.
Yes, sir.
Legit. Check it out.
Yes, sir. Hoop Jargon Sports Talk on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, y'all search the name, you'll find it. We have over 5,000 some odd members. We've been around since 2011. Best content around, telling you. And if you want to donate to the stream, HJ Streams on the Cash App tip, I'll be back monetized in about 2 weeks. Finally, dadgummit. So, and all that stuff. So thank y'all for being a part of the show. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll talk to y'all next week. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Yeah.
One time.
Yes, sir. One time for the one time. Shot it up. Boom.
We out, y'all.
We out.
Yeah.